Welcome, everybody, to Moose Milk Podcast, episode 26. We are officially half a year into this podcast, which is crazy. Never thought we'd make it this far, but here we go. I'm Ryan. I'm just waiting for Matt. And this week we're going to talk about Loki episode 4. So if you haven't watched episode 4 yet, be prepared because we will have spoilers. But yeah, we welcome you regardless, whether you care about spoilers or not. But we'll talk about that. We'll talk about stuff we're watching, stuff we're listening to, general chit chat, first 15, 20 minutes or so, and then we'll get into Loki episode 4 for probably the rest of the episode. We go on tangents all the time, so you can be prepared for that as well. But yeah, Friday night, kind of gets early Saturday morning, depending where you are. And my dog's here beside me, who's always, having a good time. He might bark. I apologize. But yeah, I hope everybody's doing well. It's been a busy day for me. Had plans with my friends, so we just watched The Conjuring 3. Or The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It. Meh. It was okay. Not great. Not bad. Wasn't as good as the first two, I don't think. But, it was fine. I should probably wait for Matt to join before I start talking about all the stuff I've been watching. But just watched that, so that wasn't bad. Then had some drinks with some friends. So it was a good Friday night. Matt's taking longer than usual to join, so I'm just trying to fill time until he gets here. But if you don't follow us, please consider dropping us a follow here and for me on YouTube. You can always follow us at Moose Milk Media. My YouTube link's in the profile. You can watch all the old episodes as well as I upload the brand new episode early Saturday morning. I just got to copy and paste it kind of from Instagram, so it takes a little bit of time, but it's always up Saturday morning sometime. And then, follow at Custom. He does a lot of cool shit. Here comes Matt right now. Look at him. Look at how good looking he always is. It's ridiculous. He just joins the podcast. It looks like $1 million every time. What's up, buddy?
It's fucking hot in this room.
It's hot everywhere, man. Like, I don't know what's happening. I'm sick of it. It's become, Canada is now the new Africa. Like, it's ridiculous.
Hey, wait. I'm gonna come back in. This phone's being a piece of shit again. And if I switch to Wi-Fi, then I lose all the chatting. So I'm just gonna switch off this phone, go to my other phone, and come back in.
All right, cool.
Okay, I'll be right back.
I like it. All right, so Matt's gone again. So I'm just gonna sit here and fill time once again because he's just, I'm fancy. I have 2 phones. I can do whatever I want. That's Matt. Good looking and has multiple phones. He's a maniac. But yeah, I want to talk about some interesting stuff Matt is doing. So I'm waiting for him to join because I don't know if everybody that's following Matt has seen his new custom figure. Matt's frozen. Or I'm
there we
frozen.
go.
Oh,
I'm good now. I'm good now.
I like it.
And for the record, I have 2 phones because one's a work phone.
Oh, I get work phones. I'm a fancy boy.
I mostly use it to siphon internet services.
I like it.
It's good.
So we need to talk about your Brainiac 5 figure because it's dope.
Were you on when he came on, or did you come on?
Briefly. I just woke up. I was making dinner, and then I seen you went live. I hopped on, and by the time I hopped on, it was like I don't know how long he was on for, but
he was on super quick, like 2 minutes.
We're talking about his name is Jesse, right? Jesse Rath.
Yeah, Jesse Rath. Yeah.
So he's Brainiac 5 on Supergirl, and Matt's making his figure for him.
Yep.
And
Again, second time.
Yeah, second time, and it's looking good. It's making major progress.
It is. It's getting there. I actually have him right here. Hang on, let me just snap his little neck into place.
Very cool, man.
So yeah, the
Very
head I
cool.
haven't done anything on. I got to start that. I keep putting it off because it's the part I hate the least. I like the least, but I'm
It's looking good,
getting
dude.
close to finishing the body. So
Nice.
yeah, he needs it done by August 6th. So
No,
still a
you got
little
time.
bit of
You got
time,
a
but
month and change.
yeah, I'm not too worried about it. I should be able to finish. My goal is to finish it by end of July.
Yeah, I think you can do that. It's making.
Yeah.
It seems like it's made a lot of progress in the last few weeks. So
It has. Yeah, it has. So
no, that's awesome, dude. And it was cool for him to drop into your life because
So that was the craziest thing. So me and Ryan were talking last week after we had got finished because it seemed like it was a little bit busier in here last week. So I said oh, do you notice the numbers are any better? And he's like, oh yeah, a bit better. And kind of got discouraged because we've had the conversation about how it's at the most there's 8 people in here at a time, right? And it's
which is awesome, but
yeah, totally.
Yeah.
But I kind of said to him, I'm don't be discouraged. I have a good size following, and the most I think I've ever had was 26 or 27 or something like that.
Right.
It was under 30 for sure.
Sure.
And then Jesse pops on,
It was
and
500.
it went from 8 to 580.
Yeah. I hopped on it was somewhere around
immediately.
500, and I was like, holy shit, what is happening right now?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, and they stuck around for a little bit. They obviously.
Yeah, they
once
did. The
Jesse
numbers
was
were
gone,
good. Your entire stream until I hopped off, it was still
Yeah.
at
I was on
near
for a
100.
while. I was on for about an hour and a half, and by the time I got to the end, there was just the usual kind of 6 or 8 people, which again is great. I'm good with that. So honestly,
Yeah,
if
I
there's
think-
one person there talking and having conversation, which by the way, I did this so I could come in and see the chat, and I can't even see the chat at all on my screen anymore.
Perfect.
So if anything, comes
I will
up, just
call
let me know.
out anybody that makes a comment that's worth reading out. I'm not saying your comments aren't worthy, but making sure that you're not saying anything
It's got to be
or
it's got to be relevant kind of the conversation.
and relevant to the conversation. But
Yeah.
if you make a comment, I will definitely read it out. No worries.
Yeah, it's true. He'll say your name.
Oh, I'll say your name.
They love that.
I'll say it
They love-
erotically if you want me to.
They love that. When I was on Toy Amigos, it's that's one of the things they always make jokes about doing the roll call. The one guy, Adam, does the roll call, and it's it's super
Yeah.
funny because they all make fun of how bad he is at it.
Yeah, but the thing is names are hard, man.
I
Like-
agree.
When people throw 3s and W's and all these random ass fucking
Take out all the spaces, and anything can read differently, right? It's
exactly.
Yeah,
It's
I know.
If you don't know the in joke that they're trying to make with their username, it's well, I don't know what the fuck you're trying to say here, man.
Just right over the head.
Yeah, exactly.
Right over the head.
Anyway,
Say goodbye to
how's
this
your week
hair
been? What-
because this is
what-
the
what-
last time you guys are going to see this glorious.
It's beautiful, man. I can't believe how gray you are.
I've been great for a long time though.
I know, but it's just it makes us look so much older than we are.
I know, but
I love it.
whatever.
It fits you. It suits you.
Yeah, it's easier to deal with.
Yeah, for
So
sure.
that's
for
a
sure.
plus.
Yeah, if you had to dye your hair every couple months or whatever.
I used
keep
to
it-
because I used to dye my own hair right when I was dyeing it black and stuff.
Yeah,
The
it's a
punk
pain
rock
in the
days.
ass.
It is a pain in the ass.
But what? Oh, side note. I
Hi, Finn. Hey, I've got one of those here too, actually.
well, I'm trying to lose weight, so I've been drinking more of that.
I know it doesn't quite quench the thirst, but
The strawberry one's terrible.
I actually don't mind the strawberry one. Which ones have you tried so far? Hey,
Strawberry.
by the way,
peach.
this is an ad by Bubbly.
Hey, if you want to give us ad reads for Bubbly or whatever the fuck it's called, I will do ad reads for you. No
I
problem.
buy
You pay me a
4
little.
cases a week. I go through
You
so
pay
much.
me a little
it's
bit of
ridiculous.
coin. You give me some free Bubbly. I will do ad reads for you. I've tried strawberry and peach. Strawberry's not good.
Yeah, I feel like strawberry tastes like fake strawberry, which I like that taste, so it works for me. But I feel
It
like
tastes like I
fake
just
strawberry.
exercised for 2 hours and then squeegeed off my sweat chest or chest sweat into a can and made it bubbly, and that's what strawberry tastes like.
I'm not gonna agree with that, but
It's bad.
You should try the lime. I like the lime because it's like pretty neutral.
Peach is delicious.
Yeah, I like the peach. The peach is good. Pineapple's good too if you like pineapple flavor.
Not a big pineapple fan.
No, okay. What about blackberry?
I haven't tried the blackberry. I haven't tried any of the other flavors. Just strawberry and peach.
I think if I have to pick one, like if I could pick one flavor and that was the only flavor I drank for like ever, I would pick lime. Lime's the
all right. Well, lime is the next case we'll buy then.
Yeah, it's just the most easiest. It kind of just tastes like a super watered down 7-Up or whatever.
7-Up, yeah.
Yeah, but it's fine.
It'd be weird if you're drinking a 7-Eleven convenience store.
Oh, that'd be good. Then I could have a Slurpee. I got a Slurpee the other day because it was hot as balls outside.
Yeah, I haven't had a Slurpee since you lived in Windsor, probably. So
I don't get them very often, but it was hot, and I was like, this is gross. I need something.
I always feel like absolute shit after I drink one, so
yeah, that's a good reason not to drink one.
It's a ton of sugar, and it
is.
It just rots your stomach. So
my stomach's built for that shit. So
yeah, sure, naturally.
So what did you get up to this week? What did you watch, or what did you play?
I am midway through phase 3 of my Marvel rewatch.
Wow, you're really moving.
I'm booking it. I'm on Black Panther. I'm not excited to watch Black Panther, but I have to.
I know you don't like it.
I hate it, but yeah. So I finished phase 2. I ranked them as I did last week with phase 1. My phase 2 ranking, and obviously the first 2 are like 1A, 1B because I love both of these movies immaculately.
Yeah, phase 2 is a really strong phase, so it's hard to pick. Probably
no, it's a very weak phase outside of these 2 movies.
Okay.
So I ranked them as Winter Soldier, Guardians, Ant-Man, Ultron, Iron Man 3, and then Thor: Dark World.
Yeah, I guess that's fair. When you say it that way, I guess it is not the best.
No, I think Ultron is fine, but it's not great.
Yeah, I agree.
Iron Man 3 and Thor: Dark World are not good.
I really agree.
I think Ant-Man is a fun comedy movie. It's not great. It's fine.
I agree. It works. Like
it's enjoyable.
It's Paul Rudd.
I think Paul Rudd. I could watch Paul Rudd read the Bible, and I find it entertaining. And I hate the Bible, so But Winter Soldier and Guardians are 2 of the best movies in the MCU. Period.
Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah, I love both those movies. They're both fucking phenomenal movies. So,
but phase 3 is by far like the strongest phase.
Yeah, I guess that's when they really found their stride too, right?
Yeah,
when they started taking more chances. It wasn't so grounded. It was like. Yeah.
I think phase 3 is really, really solid outside of Black Panther, which we'll get into next week, but I don't like at all. I've only watched it twice, so I guess this will be my 3rd watch of it, but I was not a fan either of the first 2 times, so we'll see.
Honestly, I like it. There's a lot of parts of it I really like, but at the end of the day, my biggest issue with it was that it was just more or less the same as everyone else already. Like, it was Captain America again, it was Iron Man again, it was Thor again, it was Captain Marvel again, it was just it's everything. Like, I already seen it, right? But it's like the things I liked about it, like visually, I thought it was like stunning. Like, I really like the look of Wakanda and like how the technology works. I think it's like really cool. I think
that aspect's great.
I really like that chase at the beginning where they're trying to catch Claw. Like, I love that. That's so good. And like, I really like what's his name is T'Chaka. Like, I think he's so fucking good. Like, it's so sad that he died because honestly, like, Chadwick, yeah, like he like embodied that character so well, and it's sad that we aren't going to get more of that.
No, of course. I mean, it's no insult towards him. I think he did a fine job as Black Panther, and it's a bummer that he's not going to be in the sequels. But I also I think the movie's very boring for the most part. I think it's very generic. I think the music doesn't really fit in the movie.
Oh, I love the music. I feel like people are like straight down the middle divided on that.
Yeah.
Because like I know a lot of people that say the same thing. They don't care, but to me, the music is such it works with the aesthetic of the movie. That's like it's really like naturey, but it's also like really kind of techie a little bit. Like I
found it very bad, but
it finds you very bad too.
I find the most interesting character is the villain.
Yeah, Killmonger.
Yeah, and they kill him off by the end of the movie, which is disappointing.
Silly.
So
I agree.
yeah,
Michael B. Jordan's fucking fantastic.
Michael B. Jordan is phenomenal actor.
Yeah, he sure is. I have to agree with you.
Outside of that, I've been watching this YouTube channel called Ghost Town Living about a guy that bought a ghost town in US. And it's super fascinating. I don't know why I'm finding it so fascinating, but it's just basically like a diary of his time in this ghost town. He bought a ghost town and now he's like basically rebuilding it into like trying to make it a habitable town. And it was like a mining town, so he goes down into like the mines of the town that have been abandoned for like 80 years and just like explores these mines. And yeah, it's just like basically like a video blog of his time in this ghost town. And I don't know, I've been finding it super, super fascinating.
That's kind of cool. What is it on? What's it on?
YouTube. It's called Ghost Town Living, the channel. But I guess it's been like, I don't know, 16, 17 months since he moved in there, and basically just like updates it a couple times a month. A new video blog of like what he's been doing, and he's like rebuilding parts of the town and exploring the mines and like that kind of thing. And so if you're into like that kind of like lifestyle video blog type thing, super cool, super interesting.
That's kind of cool.
But yeah, other than that, what you been watching?
This week, what have I been watching? I watched Loki twice. I watched Bad Batch again. This week's one was kind of like a filler kind of episode. Spoilers for Bad Batch, but like just to fill you in on it. So there's like this character that they basically steal from Kamino. Her name's Omega. She's like a kid, like Australian accent kind of thing, and she's a clone, she's basically like the equivalent of like Boba Fett's sister, essentially. So like when they made Boba Fett for Jango Fett, they like basically made like another version that was like not edited for like fast speed, like growth acceleration kind of thing. Right. And she's now at the beginning she was kind of taken away by the Bad Batch, who are like good guys. They're like skilled clone troopers who like are like, one's really good at tracking, one's really good with like techie shit, one's like a bigger guy, so he's like a bruiser, kind of like a juggernaut stormtrooper kind of thing. Yep. So it's like the whole story focuses kind of like about them trying to like figure out where they fit now that there's no Republic to defend. That's like the only thing they've ever known, and now like the Empire is kind of slowly taking over like everywhere, and like they're trying to phase out clones. So yeah, so it's really like it's super. I love it. The story is so fucking cool. But this week's one was just like kind of like a small kind of fillery kind of episode, I guess. But
right on.
Last couple weeks have been like fucking intense, man.
Well, that's when the show's at its best. Is when you're like, holy shit, this is awesome.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, I remember the one episode, not like 2 ago, like it ended, and I was like, whoa,
yeah,
can't wait for the next one.
That's the mode you want to be in after an episode airs, right?
Yep. And then, not necessarily something I'm watching, but before we jump into Loki, did you happen to see any of the leaked pictures of Spider-Man's new suits from the new movie? What did you think of those?
They're cool. They look cool. I like the black and gold one.
Yeah, that one's kind of interesting, eh? Kind of reminds me of the Spider Armor from the animated series, the black and silver one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw the toys. They showed them this morning. I don't really like that like charcoal gray Iron Spider looking one.
Yeah.
It's like way too many colors, and it's like way too busy, and not really.
No, it looks cool. I can't wait for that movie. I think they're doing a lot of interesting stuff, and as much as we kind of know about Spider-Man 3 or whatever the fuck it's called, Home something.
No Way Home.
Isn't that the second one?
No, that's Far From Home.
Oh no, the second one's Far From Home.
They need to ditch the From Home.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. It's
hopefully after this one they do, because it's way too much.
I think as much as we know about the new movie, I think we also don't know a ton about it, and I think we'll be in for some really cool surprises for it. So
I do too.
I'm excited for it. I can't wait for next week. We're a week away from Black Widow.
Yeah, I have to figure out how to watch it, because we gotta. I'll be home Friday night for the podcast.
So you leave Monday, right?
I leave Saturday. So realistically, next week I won't be doing this from home. I'll probably be doing it from my in-laws' house.
Wait, so Saturday is in tomorrow, or Saturday is in a week?
Like
tomorrow?
next week, yeah.
Okay, so are you going to watch Black Widow next Friday?
Oh, I don't know if I'll be able to. I'll try to, but I don't know if I'll be able to.
Okay, so if you don't watch it, I'll give my impressions of it during the podcast next week.
Okay.
But I won't spoil anything. We'll just do a very preliminary.
I wonder if it comes out like midnight.
It'll come out, I assume, at like 3 a.m.
So my
Probably like the
midnight.
shows.
Like I almost wonder if I just stay up Thursday night and just watch it.
It's up to you. I mean, I also think there's probably a lot of people that aren't going to watch it immediately anyway. I don't want to spoil it too heavily on the podcast. Like, I'd rather just give kind of our impressions and like.
But the people who would show up to something like this probably would.
Sure.
Though.
I don't know.
Like, if anyone's spending their free time watching podcasts about like Marvel shows, then I'm guessing that they're invested enough that they've watched the Marvel shows.
Well, we could always do like a very preliminary talk about it for like 10 minutes and just give our impressions and then go into spoilers for like,
Why don't we see how we like it and then we'll make a decision once we kind of. I mean, the thing is we really won't know until we go live almost, right? Because I mean, even if
we
I
also
start
got to talk
watching
about
it
Loki 5, right?
Yeah, because Loki 5 is going to be good, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I think so too. So I think we'll start the episode with Loki 5. We'll dive into a little bit of at least my impressions, maybe Matt's impressions too of Black Widow, and then maybe brief spoilers. We won't go too deep into it, and then maybe the following week or the week after we can really dive deep into our thoughts on Black Widow, and that way people have time to watch it, and we're not spoiling it too heavily for them, and then we can go into like a full episode on Black Widow.
That might be a good idea.
Yeah.
Okay, let's do that, because then we're not spoiling it like 12 hours.
Yeah, day of release.
Yeah, I guess that's a good point. Okay, let's do that then. Let's do that.
That's fine. But yeah, I'm excited for that, and I think judging from Loki 4, I think episode 5 is gonna be really good.
Oh, me too.
I really liked Loki 4, so we should probably start diving into Loki 4.
Mm-hmm.
I know people are very divided on this episode, and I don't understand why.
How could you be divided on this? It's so good.
IGN gave it a 5 out of 10. My friend Chris hated it.
Really?
Yeah. I personally thought it was really, really good.
I thought it was awesome. I thought it was so well done.
I don't really understand why people didn't enjoy it. I don't know. I don't know what more you want from the show, but after last week's episode, which was a complete waste, I think this episode nailed it. So
yeah. Well, I didn't think last week was a complete waste, but yeah, I agree that it was definitely lackluster compared to what else we've gotten in this show so far. Sure. So
obviously spoilers are going to happen. So like I said in the beginning, if you haven't watched the episode yet, be prepared. Spoilers.
Yep.
Watch the episode, bounce back.
Or let us ruin it for you in all of our wonderful glory.
Exactly.
We're good at it.
Yeah, I think it was awesome. I think it was everything we needed out of episode 3. Got a ton of plot out of the way. We learned a ton. A lot happens. We got guest appearances. It was really good. I really, really liked it. I can't wait to see where this is headed.
Yeah, me too. I gotta say that, like, I know I don't want to jump right into it, but like, man, that mid-credit thing got me so fucking excited. Like, holy fuck. Like,
yeah, no. And we definitely need to talk about that because there's some, major things that could happen out of that. But we'll start at the beginning, I guess. I mean,
let's start at the end and work our way backwards. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, anything goes, really. But opening in Asgard, I thought was an interesting decision.
Totally, yeah.
The fact that we know Asgard's gone, I was shocked to see, an opening in Asgard would still be as a young, I don't know, 10-year-old, 8-year-old, whatever the fuck she is in that.
Yep.
I thought that was super interesting. I love that Asgard's still a part of the show, even though it doesn't exist anymore. I think that's cool.
Yeah, I agree. It's cool to see it again, I guess. Like,
again, and we see the TVA kind of kidnapping her from her timeline of whatever was going to happen. Showing why she distrusts them, showing, all that stuff. Like, I thought that was a really cool opening. I mean, we got exactly what we thought we were going to get of them being rescued at the last minute from Lamentus 1 or whatever the fuck it's called. But we knew they were going to get rescued somehow. So we got that, pretty early on, which was awesome because I didn't want the whole episode to take place of them figuring out where they were going to rescue these guys.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I figured that we both kind of said that would happen.
Yeah, and we were right. I mean, I think we've got a pretty good, finger on the pulse of how these plot lines are kind of going. But
yeah, well, even something else that I think you may have predicted it kind of earlier on in the series about the timekeepers. We can kind of touch on that when we get up there. But yeah.
Yeah, no, I expected that, and I think that's exactly what I said would happen. But not that this is rocket science or anything, but it just seemed like that was going to happen. But I like the fact that we're kind of seeing the judge or Ravonna or whatever the fuck her name is manipulating the surrounding, Mobius and everybody around her, kind of trying to keep the plot of the timekeepers and making sure that they're bought in and using simple manipulation techniques to like make them still buy in. And it's sadistic, and I think she's not a good person.
Yeah, I agree. It's weird though, because again, like I feel like most of the interactions that we've had with her, like I almost always get a bad guy vibe from her, even before they were like dropping hints. Really, like she just gives me like the vibes are just not. Yeah. They're bad guy vibes. Like they're.
Yeah, I agree. I totally agree. I feel like she's trying to kind of she clearly knows Mobius was like into her or whatever, and she tries to use like her feminine charm or sexual ability to like
her
kind of
sexy powers.
Mobius. Yeah. And like she's definitely using that a lot during the episode of like trying to convince him to stay on her side, but clearly she's on the side of the timekeepers, which aren't really the timekeepers of whoever's manipulating the timekeepers, but I found that super interesting. The time loop of keeping Loki in that like cell with
Sith. Yeah, that was great.
Awesome guest appearance. Love that she's back. Really thought she was underutilized in the Thor movies. I wish she would have done more.
And she continues to be, but that's okay.
Yeah, exactly. But
it's still good to see her.
It's great to see her, and I love the time loop mechanic that he basically stole from Doctor Strange.
Mm-hmm.
Like
that's
how he. That's how he beat. I can't.
Dormammu.
Dormammu,
yeah.
Is the time loop mechanic, and that's basically exactly what this like prison is. It's the same time loop mechanic. It's awesome.
It is. It's so funny. I love how he just tries to talk himself out of it too, right?
Yeah. And every time it's a little bit like a variant of difference, but it's still the same outcome. She punches him, kicks him in the nuts, walks away,
No matter what happens, he ends up being told that he'll always be alone.
Right, which is sad in a way, but
totally.
He's made himself the situation. I mean, he's manipulated everybody around him. He backstabs everybody around him. So, like, he
can't be trusted. Yep.
Yeah.
Dig your own
I love
grave.
that. And then we get Loki kind of telling Mobius, everybody he can that, like, the TVA is a lie and they're being manipulated and, that they can't be trusted, basically. And we slowly see Mobius and what's her name? The black timekeeper there.
What's her name? Like C15 or something, or something like that, or
Hunter
40
B15.
maybe. Hunter B15. There it is.
We see them kind of turning, and they realize that, like, they're being manipulated. Hunter B15 got enchanted during episode 2 there, and she's seen like a moment of her previous life, and now she's kind of turn to the point where she doesn't trust the TVA or whatever.
Yep.
And
it was cool to see her kind of like weird since that kind of happened too, right? And then now all of a sudden you see her kind of take that into her own hands and like try to help Sylvie figure out what the next kind of steps are.
Yeah, you could see the emotion kind of break over her face where she's been so like stilted the entire series, and now all of a sudden she's realizing she was in the wrong, and you could see the change in her face when they went back to that apocalyptic event in 2050 or whatever the hell it was.
Yeah.
And you could see like the emotion kind of wave over her as she relived the moment of her real life, and it was like, oh, this is really cool. Like she's a real
like,
person.
I was smiling. I was so happy. It's crazy, man. But it's cool though. That's a cool thing. Like, it's cool that they're using that. It's like the outcome of Sylvie's powers are like ultimately like uplifted, like kind of are going to create all this issues within the TVA, right?
Yeah, well, it reminded me of the Matrix.
They're
like
totally
being freed out of this like fake reality, and like the mental like hurdle you have to jump over to realize your life's been a lie is like this like emotional revelation, and I really like that. Like it's cool.
Yeah, it is cool. I agree. I wonder how much more we'll see of that. Like, I wonder if she'll do it to Mobius, and Mobius will get to like see what his life was like.
I think that's probably
if we don't get Mobius on a jet ski, I'm gonna be super.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, like,
if that scene's coming for sure.
Yeah.
I also thought it was very interesting when Mobius and the judge were kind of talking, and I think it was that scene, and she basically says like, we've dealt with the Kree, we've dealt with the Titans, and we've dealt with vampires.
Yeah.
We can deal with Lokis or whatever her exact point was. But the fact that they brought in vampires made me think, oh, they're setting up Blade.
Yep.
This is cool. Vampires.
And hopefully not Morbius.
I don't think they are.
I don't think they are either. I'm pretty sure Sony's come out and said that it's not tied to the MCU. So
good. You shouldn't be, because it's going to be really bad.
Yeah, and fuck Jared Leto.
Yeah, fuck Jared Leto and fuck that movie because it looks god awful.
Yeah, I agree. Just put it in the garbage.
And fuck 30 Seconds to Mars because they make terrible music.
I'm gonna second that.
Yeah. I hope they're talking about Blade, but I think it's cool that they're setting up that vampires are an actual thing. That's cool.
Yep, I agree. Well, it just adds to the lore of the MCU, right? Again, it just keeps on expanding, keeps on.
No, exactly. Which makes me think that the next step is mutants. ASAP.
We say this all the time, and like, you know where I stand.
It's got to be coming, man. They can't keep setting up all these other things. It has to be a thing. It's got to be even if it's just a dialogue moment where somebody says like mutants in a sentence. That's all it needs to be.
I mean, the thing, at least now we're getting X-Men hints, like, you know, with Captain America, Winter Soldier, we had Madripoor, right? So it's like, at least we're getting like, at least the hooks there dangling, you know what I mean? Trying to get us in. Like, yeah, they haven't gone full in yet, but I like I said, I think we'll first hear the term mutant or whatever they're going to ultimately call them. I do think they're going to be called mutants, but I do feel like they're going to change.
Called mutants.
I feel like they're going to change the name of X-Men, though. I feel like it's not going to be X-Men. I feel like it'll be something. It's X-Men. Like, we just got rid of Slave 1.
Yeah, but I don't know. I don't think that's the same. I don't think X-Men is derogatory in any way.
No, but
the word slave is automatically going to bring up.
I guess. But like, but genderfied though, right?
Sure,
which is funny because even though the X-Men have always been the X-Men, there's always been a strong amount of females on all the X-Men teams.
Of course.
I don't think
you can implement that in a way that's inclusive to everybody.
Yeah. Imagine they started calling them X-beings.
They could. I would hate it, but they could.
I think they're going to because I heard someone say they were going to call it the New Mutants, and I think that's cool. But maybe they'll eventually be called X-Men. I don't really know. But
I think you will see a team called X-Men at some point. I think to start, they'll be called mutants, and then they'll just go from there. I don't know. I don't think you can get away from that. I think that's that's kind of silly. If
standard practice.
Yeah, I mean,
I think it's going to have to be that way.
You can call things X-Men and not be. It's not derogatory towards non-men.
I hope so, because I would be bummed if they didn't call it X-Men. But then again, I could also see them doing it to distance themselves from what has come before them too.
Sure, and I get that aspect, but I don't know. I think it's coming. I think you're going to get a mutant drop at some point. Just somebody saying the word of Eternals. We're in a universe of mutants, or like, oh, we're in a timeline where mutants exist, or whatever. It's going to come.
Yeah, I think Eternals. That's what I think. I think we'll still get more drops, though. I do think that before we hear the word mutant, there'll be a couple more little cherries.
So we've I don't know exactly where we are in the episode now, but we get Mobius and Loki talking back and forth a lot about Loki trying to convince him that everything he knows is a lie. We get the scene with the judge and Mobius about Mobius wanting to kind of interrogate the woman from episode 2 that they kind of kidnapped. He's not allowed to interrogate her. She makes a bunch of excuses. He finds it fishy, basically. He steals her little time.
What do they call those? Yeah, I can't even remember what they're called.
I don't know.
But her little time
pad.
Yeah.
I don't know. Whatever the fuck it's called.
I don't remember what it is. Yeah.
It's not important, but he steals hers and finds out that she's lying about C20 being like non-communicative by the time she gets got back to the TVA. She was telling them basically everything that Loki's been telling him, and so he's now convinced that everything he knows is a lie, as well as Hunter B-15, and basically sets up that Mobius is going to break out Loki and Hunter B-15 is going to break out Sylvie, and setting up
the real shit's going to go down.
Yeah, setting up the fact that now they're going to meet the Timekeepers. And we get that awesome scene where we finally get to see the Timekeepers. And they're, 3 lizard-like alien creatures.
They're weird.
Sitting in the throne room.
I had to put the subtitles on because I couldn't understand what the fuck they were saying.
I always watch everything with subtitles because I'm
do you?
fucking deaf and blind. So, yeah, I found it very fascinating that, they try to set it up as they do exist, even though they're robotic as fuck right from the get-go. Like, you can totally tell.
Yeah, they do look like it. You know what it reminded me of? It reminded me of like a bad guy level in an old video game where it's like just like smoke in the background and like lights that light up in the background. They appear out of the darkness.
It's Wizard of Oz.
Yeah, totally is. Totally is.
It's exactly what we talked about.
I was just going to say, I think you said that on episode 2. I'm pretty sure you said that.
Episode 1 or 2, I said it's Wizard of Oz. There's somebody behind the curtain. These things aren't real. Yeah. And I mean, I think a lot of people probably had that theory, but it's definitely, that's the case. We see Sylvie throw her staff or one of the
daggers.
Whatever, dagger staffs.
Doesn't she take that knife or whatever?
Yeah, and throws it at one of their heads. Their head falls off, and we see that it's all wires. They're just robots. We hear like maniacal laughing from like the 2 other Timekeepers, but they're clearly not real. They're clearly just a show to put on for everybody else. The fact that the judge didn't realize or didn't seem to be bothered by that shows that she's a part of it.
She knows, yeah. Obviously, I mean, she's defending that. It makes you wonder, like, what her place is in this, right? And like, if it goes higher than her, or if like she's
I think they're clearly setting up what the theories have been. I mean,
like, have they said like is what she is? So she's like a judge. Is she like the only one, or is like she one of many? Like, it makes me wonder if there's more like people in her position that are kind of doing the same thing. Like,
well, when they showed the flashback of her taking Sylvie in when she was a kid.
Yeah,
there was somebody else obviously as the judge, and she was just one of these like
the agents.
People. Yeah. So clearly she got like promoted at some point, but I assume she's the only judge because it seems like time doesn't really exist in this place. So maybe we found out the other judge was pruned out of the timeline or was corrupt or whatever. They got rid of him and she got put into place. So I assume she's the only judge, but who knows? Maybe there's multiple.
Yeah.
I don't think it really matters. I think she's just in a place of power and she can manipulate people around her.
Well, the reason I asked was just because like that, it makes me wonder if it's like her behind it or if it's like a lot of people behind it. You know what I mean? To me, it kind of makes a difference if it's like one person or like 50 people or.
Yeah, right. The less people that know, probably the better. So I assume it's a very small knit group. But
yeah, totally.
From all the rumors of what's his name, the Conqueror dude.
Oh, Kang. Yeah.
Kang. That she's like dating him in the comics, or they're a couple in the comics at some point. That like my assumption is that is the actual case, and we are going to get introduced at least. Maybe
is she based on a character?
What's that? Sorry.
Is the judge lady based on a character from the comics? Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, she's like dating Kang at some point in the comics.
Interesting.
And
they be fucking.
Eventually, I think she dies, and Kang goes on like a rampage.
Oh.
So my kind of assumption is that they're kind of setting that up. That in the last episode, we're going to get introduced to Kang and her as a couple, and then she's going to die, and Kang's going to be like the next big villain of the MCU, or at least in this phase. Maybe in the future phases, I don't know.
That would make sense why they would say that the stuff that happens in Loki has ramifications for the MCU moving forward.
That, and I mean, if you think back to the original 3 phases, in Avengers, we didn't really know Thanos was a thing until the very, very end credit scene of Avengers.
Yep.
And we saw, these other villains kind of set up as like, oh, they are the bad guy, but they weren't. They were just like, a henchman for Thanos. So I could totally see Kang the Conqueror being set up as like, oh, this is the next bad guy. And then it turns out like, no, he's working for X, Yeah. Maybe it's Apocalypse. Who knows,
Yeah. I feel like there's a good chance that Kang could be tied into this because I feel like even though like it's different, right? Like, when everyone was saying like, oh, Mephisto, and I think we even kind of said like, I don't think it could be Mephisto because like really you don't have any time to introduce him. Like you can't just bring in this character that we know nothing about or the general public knows nothing about. Just plop him in and be like, yeah, everyone's talking about him, but like, the general public doesn't know, right? Whereas in this
I think if you tie him in at the end of this episode, and then he carries on over the next 3 or 4 movies. Is like there's already a plan in place for him. Like, we already know that he's going to be the big bad for Ant-Man 3. We know who's going to play him. He's already been cast, so it's not even, you know what I mean? Like, it's not just that. If you think back to, like I said, Avengers 1, if you weren't in the know, you didn't know who Thanos was. You didn't know anything about Thanos.
Nope.
They introduced him as a very vague, turn-based character at the end of Avengers, and you didn't really get to see him again until what?
Yeah, long time. But what I'm saying is like, at the end of the day, the movie still had a villain, and even though at the end of the day, after the credits, everyone knew that Loki was just working for Thanos. By the time the credits rolled, everyone who just saw it was like, the Avengers stopped Loki. They didn't be. It wasn't like okay, who's next of these henchmen? Like they just assumed that it was a one-and-done shot.
If they introduce Kang now, you don't need to know anything about him other than he's a villain that's going to come back around at some point. And if they introduce at some point the person above Kang or whatever, again, you don't need to know anything about them until it's relevant. So they can set this character up and then in 6 movies later show him again as here he is again, and that just sets up the next Avengers, the next whatever. Like they're clearly going to do another tentpole Avengers or whatever they're going to call it, the new Avengers movie. Young Avengers, anything. That's when you see him again, and that's it's a small breadcrumbs building up to the big event like we got in the first couple phases.
Yeah, I don't doubt that. I just more think of like dropping a character in right at the end as the villain without like any lead up to it is like, it can be pretty tricky. Like it can be like, it can feel like an easy way out because, like, again, the general public probably has no fucking clue who Kang the Conqueror is. Like, I like comics and I know vaguely what he's about, but like,
well, not just that too, but I think they don't want to do exactly what they did during the first two phases of this franchise, right? And
I agree with that.
And if they just replicate that again, it's not going to work out well for them.
No, it's not going to.
They need to do something different. They need to show these villains having different motives, different interests, different characters, so on and so forth. So, I think they can take that as kind of a blueprint of like, oh, we're gonna slow drip you moments of this villain and then have like a big reveal. But I think you definitely need to show a different side of this villain, a different, motive, different whatever, game plan, and having a very different persona moving on. And I think the way you do that is introduce different heroes as well, and that's what they're doing. Is if you had Tony Stark back in this just making smart ass quips, that's one thing, but now you have Doctor Strange, who's more of like the mystical side of things, and then you slowly introduce Fantastic Four and X-Men, and you get all kinds of different versions of this universe where it's not the same like Captain America and Thanos and Tony Stark and Iron Man and all that. Like, you need different variations of that hero archetype.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I was just gonna jump to the end, but if I do that, then I'm gonna, because it kind of goes into what you were just saying. But
well, yeah, we need to get to that point. So like,
I know, but we can't yet because there's two.
Time.
But we can't because there's two big components of this show that we just skipped over, which was the what do they call it when they phase them out or whatever? I can't remember.
Pruning.
Prune them. When they prune Mobius, or when what's her name prunes Mobius, her friend there, the judge lady there.
Judge Ravonna,
Ravonna, yeah.
So Mobius gets pruned, he's gone. Loki kind of sheds a tear because they've kind of developed like a friendship / trust.
Yeah.
I felt that it was kind of not emotional enough. Like, I felt like there should have been a more emotional pull there, but my assumption is he'll be back in some form in the next episode.
It's weird though, because until I saw the end credits, which I guess I'm spoiling here now, but we were going to anyway, but until I saw the end credits, like I was just like, whoa, damn. Like, they just killed off Mobius like no one's fucking business. Like to me, that was a big, like, shocking moment, because I was just like, whoa, didn't see that coming. Like,
sure. And then, obviously the second prune we get is Loki.
Yeah. Which again was also, but once that one kind of happened, then I was like, okay, actually, it's probably not, because I figured we probably weren't going to continue the show without him. Like, I do think that female Loki's good enough at this point that, like, she could probably anchor it fine. But, like, I felt like that would be a pretty, like, uninspiring way to say bye to Tom Hiddleston for the last time.
Oh, so for sure.
As soon as it happened, I was like, something's going to happen here, because I don't feel like that really works.
Yeah, I always kind of felt that the pruning thing of like, them melting the person or whatever, I thought it was too hardcore for a Disney show. Like, I always thought, like, oh, something's happening to these people where they're going to a different dimension or different planet or different whatever, like a different agency. There's somebody underneath the TVA that these people go to. Like, I always felt like there had to be something where these people go somewhere else, these people go to, because it just doesn't seem Disney-esque to just like, oh, we're melting this person and they're dead.
Yeah.
But when we see Loki get melt, I couldn't imagine a world where Loki isn't a part of this universe, or at least the rest of the season. So, we see Loki get pruned out of the timeline, and clearly him and Sylvie have developed this like romantic type thing where it's weird because it's basically Loki into himself, but Loki is into himself, so it makes sense in that regard.
Yeah, totally. The fact that they love each other makes it funny, because it's like, it's so Loki.
It's so Loki, and that's what I mean. Is like we get that moment right before Loki gets pruned that like he's about to reveal to her that he's like in love with her or wants to date her or whatever the case may be. But right before he can say it, he gets stabbed with the prune stick and he's out. So we kind of see her face drop as she realizes he's gone, and then it's credits.
Yeah. Well, no, doesn't she tell her that she takes Ravonna or whatever and basically says, "You're going to tell me everything"? Because she kind of says, like, "Just kill me, right? Just get it over with," kind of thing. And she's like, "Yeah, not a fucking chance. Like,
no,
you're gonna let me know what's up." Yep.
And then it credits, and then we get the mid-credit scene for the first time in 4 episodes of Loki kind of waking up on a planet. We don't really know where he is. He's laying on the ground. He's questioning whether he's in hell and if he's dead or not. And he kind of like sits up and sees 4 variations of himself.
So weird. Oh, so which force? So he sees Kid Loki in the front,
right?
And then he sees like an alligator with a little Loki crown on.
Something like that. I don't really know what it was.
Me neither. And then there's like a big black guy in the back who's got like a golden kind of hammer. I'm not really sure who that's supposed to be. I think
that's the Loki variation of where he wins and he becomes Asgard's king.
Oh yeah, maybe. But the one that excites me the most is the one that Richard E. Grant plays, and he plays this like grumpy looking old Loki in like spandex, green and yellow, like just looks like a fucking fool. Like,
no, totally.
But it looks awesome. Like, I mean, it looks.
Yeah. No, but I didn't notice this the first time I watched it, and then I read a review of it, and they called this out. Is in the background you see an Avengers tower that's destroyed.
Yep.
And my assumption there is that one of those Lokis is the Loki that won during Avengers 1. That
good call.
The Earth was destroyed, and he's king of Earth or whatever, emperor of Earth or whatever the case may be. So we're clearly dealing with multiple timelines of Loki's getting pruned out of their timeline and into this whatever this world is.
Yep.
Maybe it's the world of Loki's, like we don't really know. Maybe everybody has their own world where they get pruned to, and every variation of themselves is what makes up their new reality.
I hope Mobius's is just a world of water, and all of them are just jet skiing, and it's all the different Owen Wilsons from every property he's ever been in.
Sets up Waterworld 2. It'd be great. We get a whole episode of just different Owen Wilsons bobbing on jet skis.
Hansel, so hot right now, like blowing in the wind.
Gasoline fights over jet skis. That'd be great. I hope they have that moment.
So the thing that excites me the most about this end credit scene is something I feel like I brought up before, but I might have just had it in side conversation with you. I end up forgetting a lot of the times because
it's hard to remember.
They kind of blend in. But like one of the things that I read about Doctor Strange was that they're going to visit the 616 universe, which is the comic book universe. And the idea behind that was that like the characters there would like be in like what you see them in the comics. So it's like Spider-Man's not in this like cool techie suit with all these designs. He would be in like blue tights with red designs over it. Right. To me, this Loki that Richard E. Grant plays, the old Loki with the yellow and green costume, the spandex costume, looks exactly like the Loki from Avengers 1, the comic book, like the original comic book. Right. And it makes me wonder if that Loki is the Loki from the comic book universe, maybe even hinting at the fact that we may eventually get to visit that universe. Because to me, if I got to see the comic book versions of any of those characters on screen alongside with the MCU characters, that would be fucking crazy. Like that would be so cool to see.
Well, and it's what all of comic book nerds want to see is like the actual comic book costumes and like they've kind of touched on that and joked about that. Like,
yes, always. Yeah, with Luke Cage and with Scarlet, Quicksilver and
and Hulk in the original Hulk movie when what's her face hands him in like big green fucking tights or whatever.
Even in Jessica Jones when Trish gives her she shows her the white jewel costume or whatever. Right. Remember?
yeah. And they always like, oh no, I'm not going to wear that, and then they move on. But yeah, it would be great to see those actual costumes in a world where everybody's in their actual comic book costume. That'd be cool.
Yep. Another thing that I heard that may be a possibility is that, or I guess not a possibility. Another thing that I've kind of heard that I thought was interesting was that. So in the comic books, there's an event called Secret Wars, and basically what happens is Doctor Doom sends all these different people, all these heroes to Battle World, which is like a mix of like a bunch of different like universes collided together. So like there's like a Savage Land, there's like a spot where it's like all zombies, and it's like there's a group of heroes that are trying to get out of this zombie universe where everyone's a zombie, and like I heard a rumor that they may look at like maybe doing something like that where Kang is like overseas Battle World, and like maybe that is one of the Battle Worlds where like everything is destroyed and the Avengers Tower is there in the background, and
maybe that's where they are. Like at the end, maybe it's some Battle World because everything in the background was destroyed completely. So that'd be cool if like that's where all these variants went, and there was just like a battle royale type, world where they could all fight each other and it didn't matter. Yeah. I definitely think they're setting up a bigger storyline with this show. Like it just feels that way. It feels epic enough where they're like truly trying to set up something more where like in WandaVision, it seemed like it was setting up the future of Wanda and Vision.
Yeah, it was pretty like centric to them.
Yeah. And even Falcon and Winter Soldier, it definitely felt like it was more centric to those two characters.
Yes. And, definitely more character pieces than world builders.
Yeah, and now we're kind of getting on more of a world. We're showing the Infinity Stones don't matter. We're showing the multiple timelines and how they're fixed and dealt with, and what happens if you fuck up the timeline, etc. And it just feels like it's a way bigger scale than anything that come before it. So I think that's super interesting.
Me too. I think it's really cool. I wonder what would happen if they imagine they finished it with Sylvie and Loki teaming up to try to be the main villains again. Imagine how cool it'd be to see them do a heel turn where they work together.
No, that'd be awesome if they're we can time jump and manipulate it any way we want and work together, and maybe we can do this together. I think it's interesting that this series is going to end and then we're going to get What If. Yeah. And they could totally do a What If episode of what if about Sylvie Loki? Was alongside Loki during Avengers 1?
Oh, man, that'd be sweet.
Yeah, and just show, the difference that would have happened is, Hulk goes to grab Loki and slam him into the ground, and meanwhile, Sylvie's standing behind him and shanks, Hulk. And
Or enchants him and has him do it to somebody else.
And then all of a sudden, the whole battle's flipped on its head,
Yeah.
Stuff like that, where they could really change this up, where it's, all of a sudden really wild.
Yep, that'd be amazing.
I think it's definitely set up in that way where all these different timelines that we've been showing is definitely going to happen in What If in some regard,
Yeah, I hope so. I'm excited for What If because honestly, man, I do think that it'll be cool to see different takes of what could have been in our main line of the MCU, right? And the other cool thing about that is that show's canon, so any timelines that it sets up, they can always revisit them in real time. Imagine getting a chance to see some of these characters come back and play other characters in the MCU. It sucks because even to Chadwick Boseman, right? He plays Star-Lord in his episode, and wouldn't it be weird to go to a world where Chadwick Boseman meets Chris Pratt as both of them are Star-Lord? How fucking funny would that be?
It'd be awesome. Yeah. I meant to ask you too, did you watch MODOK at all?
I haven't, but I want to. I really want to. I just haven't had the time to sit down with it. Have you?
No, I haven't watched it, but I'm thinking after Loki, it might be interesting if we watch that series, because I don't know how many episodes it's going to be or if it's done or what, but if we watch that series and then maybe did a whole episode on that, of our thoughts on that.
That'd be fun. Yeah, I'd love to watch that.
Yeah, we could definitely talk about What If and stuff after that too, because obviously I'm going to have to watch it for this podcast anyway, so.
That's right.
I'll have to bite the bullet.
You will. Take one for the team, son. Did you see the thing I posted on my Instagram story today, that MODOK figure?
Yeah, I did. It was awesome.
Oh my god, that's so great. So
it looks really cool.
So that they do a convention. Hasbro does a convention in the fall now because Comic-Con and everything got canceled last year. So they started their own kind of convention, like an online one.
Right.
And that's one of the exclusives for it this year is the Next Wave based set. So it's got the Captain, who is a character. I think he only showed up in Next Wave, but I might be wrong. I've never read the book, but I know it's got a cult following. But that MODOK with the Elvis Presley hair and sideburns and the flaming hamburger shooting effect is fucking hilarious. Like that.
Are you gonna buy that?
Nah, probably not. Just because I don't really have a spot. Like I already have a MODOK. And
I saw him in one of your shelf reveals there.
Yeah. So I probably won't. And because again, I don't really have attachment to Next Wave. So, but I do think it I can still appreciate that it looks fucking pretty dope. So
yeah, it looks really cool.
They also showed a Marvel Legends animated series Venom with the blue and red highlights, blue from one side, red from the other, and man, it looks so fucking good.
You're gonna spend so much money over these next few phases.
I think I'm gonna, yeah.
When they start revealing all these new characters and all these new figures for these new characters, you're gonna fucking.
It's funny because I was stepping away from MCU, but now that I'm going back to the office in November, I have a huge space that I can fill. So I'm moving all my MCU stuff to work so I can because I just don't have the space, and I want to have I bought Surtur, from Ragnarok, and he's 13 inches. My shelves are only 12 inches, so he's not gonna fit in there. And I bought Ironmonger, who's 10 inches. He's pretty big, right? So
I just think it's so funny that before you moved to your new place, you were like, "Oh, I can't wait till I get to my new place where I have so much more room," and you've already filled it.
That's what I said the other day on my live stream. Is it doesn't matter. It's you fill to what you have, right?
Yeah, of course. You could have a mansion. You could find ways to fill it.
Yep. Yeah, but I'm getting to the point now. I'm just right now, right behind me. Was before I came on here. I was trying to set up my X-Men villain shelf, and I have room for it's so tight in there that I can probably put one more in there, and even just by the end of this year, there's another 3 X villains that I need to add to that shelf. So I'm just gonna finally have to split those X villains into another shelf, which sucks. I hate having them in 2 spots, but oh well.
It's a hard life to live.
Third world problems.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I know. I know how it is. I mean, I collect my movies and games and all that, and you run out of room, and it's all right, I need another bookshelf, and there's nothing you can do about it. So.
Yeah, especially if you don't have space. I have space, but Kate doesn't want to give it up, which I understand, but also, come on.
Yeah, no, I totally understand. It sucks. It's a nerd problem, you never have enough room. It's a
collector problem.
Yeah, but once it's also do I really want a whole bedroom or a whole room full of this? And it's it looks cool, but at some point it's all right, this is taking up half my house. What am I going to do with these things?
Yeah.
So.
They accumulate quickly. Well, wait till you see when I get so I ordered a Sentinel. They did a HasLab. It's a crowdfunding kind of thing. And they did a 24-inch Sentinel, fully articulated, light up eyes, light up hands, light up chest. Comes with battle damage chest and head, and he comes with a Tri-Sentinel head, and he comes with a Mastermind head, and he comes with some little drone characters, and
that's dope, man.
Fucking wild, dude. I'm pretty excited.
When you get that,
super expensive. I think it was $500 or something like that.
Oh Jesus!
It's expensive. But like my intentions are to buy. Like I really wanted one of the bonus characters. Like one of the stretch goals was like this character Bastion. I don't know if you know him. He's like a humanoid sentinel, basically. So I really wanted the Bastion figure. So I was like, I'm gonna just buy it for the Bastion figure, and then I'll sell the Sentinel because they're army builders. People are buying them. Like my buddy Alvin, Astonishing, he bought fucking 6 of them. Crazy dog. I know. I'm like, dude, where are you gonna put that? That's gonna take up like your kid's room. Like,
who needs a kid when you have 6 Sentinels though?
I agree. But yeah, so it's yeah. I don't think everybody does that, but I know a lot of people who bought like 2 or 3. But yeah, I feel like people are underestimating how big this thing is. Because like I even said, like I just did the layout like on my shelf and like just measured like if it was just height alone. And I'm like, I would have to take all 3 of those shelves to fit that Sentinel in there.
Jesus.
Like, I could never justify giving up that much space. So I'm pretty much going to buy it because like I can't, I've been collecting these for so long that like, the Sentinel's always been like the thing that like because I'm such a huge X-Men fan, I'm like, man, if they did an in-scale Sentinel, that would be amazing. But with toys, you usually don't get that. I might not because the thing is like I could probably keep one of the heads and Bastion.
You need to keep
and sell it and make money off of it. I probably could.
Yeah, but you just need to keep it.
I want to keep it, but I just have a hard time spending that much on a figure and then putting it in storage. There's nowhere I can put it. Like, there's literally physically nowhere in this room that I can put it.
You need to build a second new shelf, buddy.
Hang it from the ceiling.
Hang it from the ceiling, like me. Yeah, no, that's I don't know. I can't go down this road of collecting more things, or it'll never end. I'll not have a place to sleep soon.
It's an expensive hobby for sure.
Yeah. I mean, they all are. Any hobby gets expensive if you get really into it.
And it gets to the point where you get to the point where you spend so much on like one figure that you're like, even if it's not perfect, you'll pay more to make it. So it's like, I think I showed you, I got this model like a few weeks back. Yeah. It was like expensive. It was like $150 or something like that.
Yeah.
And the neck on him, one of my biggest pet peeves was his head was sunk really low. So I spent more money on a third-party thing to get like a replacement joint for the neck that raises it up just enough that it doesn't look so like stubby anymore.
Yeah.
But again, that's where you get to the point where like you buy these expensive figures and then you spend more money making them perfect. Sure. And it's like to get your definitive version of a character, you end up spending like $200 on shit between like soft
but you also know
and
you also know what you like and what you're looking for.
Yes. And some characters are worth it to me, right? Like there's some characters I have more attachment to.
The characters you love, you're going to spend the money on.
Yeah.
It's like a vinyl album, though, right? Like it's the same for me.
That's a good way of looking at it.
Yeah, like if a band released a vinyl copy of something that I couldn't find for a long time, and then all of a sudden it's out, and it's like, oh, we re-release album X for $100 though for this vinyl, I'd be like, yeah, okay, it's worth it to me. Like,
yeah,
it's anything is there's a value that they can put on it that makes it worth it for anybody if you're a big enough fan of it. So
yeah, there's always a market, that's for sure. Even with commissions, right? Like I've had times where I've said my price to people and someone's like, that's a lot of money. Like I wouldn't spend that much on a figure, and I'm like, I wouldn't either.
Yeah, but
I don't disagree with the fact that it's expensive, but I also am not taking a pay cut so someone can get.
Well, no, and it's the amount of time you're putting into it, and you know, at some point, your time is more valuable than not. You know, like
yes,
time's the most valuable thing you can have. It's the one thing you can't
really
buy more of. So like, you know, what your time is worth is what it's worth, and whether somebody wants to pay that's their prerogative, but that's the value of it, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. So
yeah. Anyway, I think that's the end of the episode. I don't think we have anything left to discuss.
All right. Well, so yeah, I liked your idea of next week we'll just kind of touch on Widow.
Yeah. So next week we'll do episode 5 of Loki, and then we'll touch on Widow. If we've both watched it, we'll just give our early impressions, brief, non-spoiler, you know, overview of it.
Yes.
What we thought, where it maybe fits in relative to the rest of the movies in the franchise, whether, you know, near the top, near the bottom, somewhere in the middle, whatever. And then, maybe a week or two later, we'll do a full episode of talking about Black Widow and spoil the shit out of it and our impressions and everything like that. So maybe the first episode after Loki's done.
Ah, that's a good idea because we'll have a couple weeks, right? I think we have 2 weeks or 3 weeks of downtime.
Yeah, so we'll do Loki episode 6. We'll get into that deep, and then the next episode we'll do a
Widow
dive on Black Widow, and then
we'll do MODOK
dive on MODOK.
That's a good idea.
And just keep going that way, and then we'll see where What If fits in, and if we find a few dead episodes where we don't really have anything to talk about, we can talk about that and just make up something.
We'll do ads for bubbly, carbonated beautifulness in my mouth.
Have you had a bubbly today? Maybe drink one. Refreshing.
Fresh.
Not paid by Bubbly, but if you want to pay us,
send
we'll take
free
your money.
Bubbly.
We'll
Brian
take your money
try
and
all the
free
flavors.
Bubbly.
Send them as much pink grapefruit as you can.
Send us at least 10 cases of every flavor so we can really test it out.
Yeah, we really need to know our bubbly inside and out.
Yeah.
I actually found it pretty gross, but
no, it sounds appropriate.
Okay.
And then we will also take money because we like money.
We do like money. It's good. Money is good.
All right. Well, on that note, thank you for joining us. Be sure to follow us on Instagram at Moose Milk Media, at Customs by Matthew. Go into my profile. There's a link to my YouTube channel where every back episode is available there.
Go give some love.
Will be posted. Sorry?
What do they? I said go give some love. Pound the subscribe button.
That too. Do that. It helps our numbers. It helps more people find us. And that's always a joy because we love more people, watching the episode, commenting, liking, all that fun stuff. So if you like it,
just like
please
saying pound the whatever.
Always pound the whatever.
Just
whatever your preference is, pound it.
Yeah, pound that shit. You can do it. Yeah. We have faith in you.
I agree. Come back next week. Well, we'll talk about Loki episode 5. So
it'll be so good.
It will be a joy.
All right, man. Have a good night.
All right, buddy.
I'll talk to you soon.
Okay, bye.
Bye, everyone. Peace.